Lorraine Miller. Sorry, I'm a few minutes late. I was on another call, and they
That's
didn't get their business done.
quite all right. I live here. I'm not going anywhere, so it's all right. Thank you very much for your time, and thank you for calling. Okay, let me ask you first. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, are you a reporter?
No, I'm not. I'm a citizen. I've lived here all my life,
Okay.
and I'm trying to protect my. Well, I'll tell you what. 8 years ago, I was pretty dead, brain dead of what's going on in the city, and I got woke up. And since then, I don't know. I think I'd rather be brain dead. I might, but anyway. Anyway,
Okay.
this the first thing I'd like to ask you: would it be all right if I record this meeting?
Record?
Yes, the meeting. So whatever you answer, whatever I can remember what I've said, what I asked, go back. I got 4 questions I'd like to ask the task force. Do you have any problem with it? I like being transparent, laying everything on the table. That's what I like. Everything wide up. I have nothing to hide. Okay? Now, I'm just asking you, would you mind? If you don't want it recorded, you can say so. It's up to you.
Well,
I'm just being honest with you, telling you what I'm asking, you know.
Yeah, I understand. I'm reluctant.
How about if we record it, before I give it to anybody, you can see what I give out. How's that? Before anything given to anybody, you'll know about it first.
Oh, so you're
I make videos. I'm documenting the whole thing of this the whole thing. I'm documenting. I'm making videos. They've been playing at City Council for the last 2 weeks. There's 4 of them on my website, and I like showing people where I'm coming from. If there's a question or whatever, here's how I came about it. You know.
Okay.
And that's what I like. Yeah.
I wouldn't like to be recorded.
You would not like to be recorded?
No.
Okay then. Okay. Well, let's go on with this then. Let's see.
Okay.
Here's the first question. The public presentation when people sign up to speak. Well, I was wondering, would you consider asking the city manager and yourself, would you move it to the top of the agenda so that they put the people first? You know what I mean? The ones calling in that want to speak in there. See, City Council for White Settlement and Kennedale and Forest Hill, they put their public presentation up first.
Mr. Willoughby,
Mm-hmm.
I've already thought of that because I think it's an imposition to have the citizens waiting so long because I had no intention of having a 4-hour meeting the other week.
I'm sure you didn't. It's okay.
So yeah, that's something.
Okay. I'm just asking you to consider, so y'all might talk about it and seeing, like I said, the other cities do it, and I think it'd be really nice for the public, you know, if you can. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, next question. Go ahead.
I think the reason they do that is because sometimes people want to hear the proceedings, and then they may have additional questions or statements that they want to add after they've heard.
Yeah, you got a point there, but I think the majority they can go home and watch the rest of it at their convenience. You know what I mean? At home and catch up, do that, and put their point. And then if there is any, they can bring it to the next one maybe. But I know you run out somewhere, you might not get to ask. So I understand. That's a good point, though. You got a good point there. You made a good point. Okay. Here's the first thing is I want to ask you: would you agree that it would not be smart to trust people that do not answer questions? Did that make sense?
That do not answer.
Yeah, if you ask someone, if you was buying a used car from a used car salesman and he wouldn't answer questions about the car, do you think it'd be smart to go ahead and buy the car from him? Would that be smart?
You wouldn't buy it.
No. Okay, so it's not good to trust. I'm getting at. I guess there can be exceptions to any rules, okay? Anything, but on the majority, it wouldn't be smart to trust people that don't answer questions because something's wrong if they're not answering questions. You agree with me on that, pretty much?
Well, obviously, there's some people are trying to obfuscate and not for some reason.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I'm getting at, basically. There's something I want to know about, you know, and they're not telling you, so that's it. Okay. Okay, well, here's the thing. City Council will not answer any of our questions on the adding 2 council members for the last 3 years from the time the charter was put out. And we've asked, there's 4 questions that we put forth for City Council, and time again, they're on one of my videos on my website as well. You can even see it there, and they've been played at City Council, and then they don't answer questions about that. So I don't, you know, I have a problem going forward until they answer these questions. Would you like to know the 4 questions?
Sure.
Okay. Well, the first question was to City Council, and this way you can see if they're legitimate or not. You can make your own, why did the city manager not put a 20% stipulation on Proposition 2 before we add 2 more council members? It requires 20% to remove a council member. Why not 20% to add one? It's only common sense, it sounds like. But that's one of our questions to him is why not? We pay this city manager $100,000 more a year than the last one. And I feel we got less than what we had in the last manager. So that's my personal feeling. But that's one of the questions was why did the city manager not even step at the bat? Because he's supposed to be looking out for the money of the citizens, or protecting our property, So we asked that question, okay? No answer. The second question to council, would they place Proposition back on the ballot requiring a 20%? Because we feel that, like I said the other night, if 20% of the population does not feel it's important enough to take the time to go vote, and we're not talking 80%, we're talking 20%, the same amount to remove, okay, to go vote for this, we don't need 2 more council members. What we really need is more honest and smart council members is what we need. That's my own personal point on the end. But anyway, that's the second question is, would they put it on the ballot? No response. Or why not they would put it on the ballot? No response. Third question was to council and mayor. How will 2 more council members benefit us? As far as we can see, all we get is the bill, $250,000 a year, which would be more better served. Have you ever been downtown at nighttime with the homeless and how many tents and how many people are on the streets down there right now? I go down there, I help to hand out food and stuff. I went down the other night with a group down there, and which I'd love to work on that problem. That's a whole different situation. I don't get off on that. I'd love the chance to work on that, but $250,000 a year would help get our these people into work or more help, rather than adding 2 more council members. Because right now, as far as my concern, our council members are not honest, and the red light cameras is how I come to that. We had to go to the governor to get those out. Our council members knew it was a scam, but they kept it in and took advantage of people. So adding 2 council members to this group here, it's like adding 2 apples to a bucket of rotten apples. You don't want to do that. So that's why I'm trying so hard to stop this until some questions are answered, and then we can go forward properly. But but anyway, let's see. But anyway, our answer to them was, get back, I can get off track sometime. But anyway, that third one was, how would it benefit us? And we can't see any way at all it's going to benefit us, and we're going to pay $250,000 a year, and there's just no way it's going to benefit us, really. Right now, not with this group, anyway. And fourth question, why will City Council not answer any of our questions? They even create a question in their behavior. And that's all these, I believe, are legitimate questions. I'd like to know, why don't they even answer? No response. They know well who I am and how to get a hold of me. I'm there every Tuesday night. As a matter of fact, on the police side, I'm there more than the council members are. But anyway, that's the 4 questions there that I have to put forth to them. I'd like for the task force or anybody with y'all to ask if you think those are legitimate questions. Unless you don't think they're legitimate questions, if you want to debate any of those questions, I'm open to that. If you don't think they should be answered or not, that's fine. But I'd like for the task force to ask the council member these questions and see if they'll answer the task force. Will they answer the task force or not? And then to the task force, I got a question to the task force. Did any of the task force members vote on the 2016 Charter Amendment? Did they vote on any of the propositions? Did you vote on any of the propositions on 2016 Charter vote yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You knew about it. Okay. Well, at least you were aware of it. Okay. Because the problem with the charter thing in 2016, much like the task force the way it's going right now, the public advertisement is terrible. I mean, I've got a picture here of a billboard right now that's up, and it says Fort Worth Welcome, NFR, I don't see any billboards up around the city saying they should have been up months ago. Redistrictizing. This is big. I said it is big. It's money. It costs us a lot of money, our taxpayer money, and it's education and stuff that we need to know. Going through neighborhood associations, which are mostly owned by council, I mean, they're terrible. But anyway, it's good.
That's why we tried to broaden, and we're broadening it to community-based organizations. All kinds of organizations.
I know, it's good. Well, I'm saying go through them. Definitely do that. Nextdoor, Facebook, do all of those. But the one that does work, and you can't get around this one, if you put up, the city should own about 3 of these billboards, 3 or 4 around the city. They should own and lease them out when there's not nothing important going on to pay for them, and put up signs like the charter. It should have been on the billboard. 12 propositions, vote on the charter, get information, There's none of that stuff, And they don't advertise it. And that hits everybody because a lot of people aren't on Nextdoor or Facebook. There's a lot of them, they're busy with their life, They're in a whole different world.
Yeah.
And you reach them all. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's something with our money.
Well, no, I'm not saying anything about the billboards, but I agree that we have to put the word out in different ways than they traditionally do.
Another way would be, okay. Well, another way would be maybe even on the side of buses, which would put money back into the city, wouldn't it, in a roundabout way? It would give money to the transit and advertise at the same time. But like you get the point. We need to advertise outside the what I call the insiders. I mean, I got the city's data bank, all the preachers and all on the city data bank. I have their emails, all that. But I want to reach the people that are. There's a lot of us out here, and I want to get them more involved because we have nobody voting in our local elections. And I think if you get them educated more about what's going on, maybe they might be more involved to vote in our local election. I don't know what else to do, but it's really terrible. But nevertheless, all this works together kind of like. But that's the thing about this whole thing is that the charter wasn't advertised correctly, and I've got to say the task force wasn't either, because in the water bill, which reaches everybody out there. And here, all you got is a little bold print underneath worth knowing, no dates. And there's been 3 of these meetings. No dates, no contact number. It should have had its own heading in here, and it should have had contact. And they've had 3 years to put this together. I mean, I worked in the entertainment business for 30 years, and they can arrange a tour in 6 months' time, and coordinate this stuff out. I mean, it's unbelievable how hard that is. They can do it in 6 months. I'm sure the city had 3 years to coordinate the dates for y'all to meet, the time, or either at least put tentative. But there's nothing in here. And I called the city way before your first meeting. As soon as they had that, when they agreed to put a task force together, I called Chelsea and asked to get the dates so I could get them. But they're not, like I say, that's terrible advertisement. That's really bad, And it's not right. But it's the same thing with the charter. So to make this right, to get it back on track right for the people, right off where we talk about race, or there's a whole other field I'd like to talk about there, but first thing is get the first thing on track. It should be placed on billboards and put on ballot to require at least 20% to vote for 2 more council members before they spend our money like this and put this in there. It should be really publicized, I say, on billboards, and because it's going to cost a lot of money. It's going to cost us money. It's worth doing this. And put it on the ballot. And we know, and they know, and we all know this, it's not going to pass because 20% don't vote on anything in the city, which is that's what I want to see change eventually. But we know they won't, and it will fail. And the task force can work on redistrictizing the city, and then I'm making videos every Tuesday night for every council meeting, but I'll be talking about some of the things that y'all said the last one that I saw that I didn't think was right. But I'll put them in videos. I'm not insulting anybody. I'm just laying it out. But that would be the things I'd want to focus on then. But right now, the first thing I want to know that it's running on the right trail. It's not on the right track. It's off track, and it won't be on track unless City Council puts this back on ballot and advertise it properly, and then let people vote. Do we need 2 more council members or not? And that's all I've been asking for 3 years. They won't answer that question. So that's why I'm asking the task force to ask that question. So 2 questions from the task force to City Council. Will they put it on the ballot, requiring 20% of the population to vote? If they want to advertise it, I don't care. Just put it on the ballot, okay? And see if it needs to be advertised, Jesus. But that, and the other question was, why won't they answer any of the 4? Well, I had 4 questions there. Why won't they answer any of our questions? Number 4 would be just fine. They wouldn't answer none of our questions that we've asked for 3 years. 0. And that's disrespectful in another way. And to think about it for a minute. Our council member and mayor, they took an oath to serve the people. And that is the premise of the job, is to answer questions. And they don't. And that's, if someone had done like you did with me 8 years ago, I probably wouldn't have been here. If code compliance would have returned a call like you did, that was nice. You called last night, you set up a meeting, you called me this morning. That's all I've asked. And people don't do that in our city. And, as far as my concern, with you doing stuff like that, if you want to run for mayor, you already got my vote, I think. So I appreciate that. I appreciate your time, and that's the first thing you do is you call people and at least listen to them or take them. But anyway, I won't waste any more of your time. I do appreciate it. But the two questions I have for the charter, if you'll ask council, did any of that make sense, or did I just? I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, it makes sense, and obviously, you've got a frustrating task ahead of you because, the city's going to say that they've already spoken to that. So there's no need of putting another thing on the ballot. They've already executed that, whether it's 20%, whether it's 10% of the residents that voted on it. So they're going to say that's a moot issue, and they'll move on.
Well, they can say it, but it's not true. They've never answered a question. If they'd answered questions from the beginning, they'd have a point.
That's what they're going to say.
Well, I know that's what they're going to say, but I'm asking the task. That's why I'm asking the task force, because I know what council does, and I know what council says. Now we're asking, what we're looking at is, see, we wanted an independent select task force. This is what we want, instead of city council, because we don't trust city council to pick the right people. Okay, but I'm not going to criticize the task force anything they pick. I'm only going to judge by the task force actions, okay? And if the task force thinks that what I just said has valid and merit, which it does, it's not a matter of we like, the numbers don't add up, period, okay? That's just simple math. It don't add up. But if the task force is who we're talking to, we want to see what kind of task force do we have. Do we have one? Because y'all sure did say a lot of stuff, how important it is to be transparent. The citizens should know. You said a lot of that. I got a ton of this on tape here to work with, a lot of it. And I now I want to seize it true, because I've had 8 years of people, and I've seen the movie over and over. They say stuff, but they don't do it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we're at. We're trying to hold you. That's what I want to do, hold you accountable to what you said. If you mean it, that's what we want. People to look at the citizens, like you said, bringing that even to the top about the presentation. Good, that would be good. But we want honesty, we want transparency, and we want people that's going to support. In other words, it comes down the line. Does the task force support the mayor and council, or does the task force support the citizens of the city first? Where does their priorities lay at? Okay, that's what we want.
And Mr. Willoughby, you're asking us to get into some areas, and I understand your frustration, and you got to find allies.
It's not frustration. Well, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it is awfully frustrating to try to work on something, and you're not getting any cooperation, and they're not answering the questions the way you want them to answer.
No, ma'am. Hold up. No, not the way I want them to answer. We just want them to answer, period. Okay, let's get that correct.
Well,
go ahead.
They're going to give you. They've got an answer for you.
Well, then let them give it to me.
Yeah. Well,
that's what we're asking you. They won't give it to us, so we're asking you to ask them to give it to us. Because if they don't give it to us, it is not a mute deal. It is it's not right to say, not answer questions, say we done did that and we're going to go on. That's not right. No way is that right. But nevertheless, that's why we're asking you.
Yeah. Well, I don't see this as a function of our task force. We're trying to be. Well, I'm trying to. What I see us, and I speak for myself. I can't speak for the majority, because I've talked to everybody on our task force.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to do what we can in the public interest, and trying to get the residents of Fort Worth to understand that redistricting is happening. Now, let me just tell you what we're doing: the redistricting 101 seminars and trying to educate people. That was not in the original plan. The city the city they didn't even want us initially to do the neighborhood associations, okay? And so we decided that we needed to do that and to do community-based organizations, that we need to get out on the radio, we're going to be doing stuff in the press, in the Starlegram and the Fort Worth Business Press and all the little neighborhood papers that you can pick up when you go in the grocery store, so that people trying to reach the residents where they are. And we're making, surely it's not going to be perfect, but we are making a concerted effort to reach the residents more than the city would have wanted. I went and talked to the mayor about it. She says, well, Lorraine, okay, if that's what you want to do. But they're not thrilled about this. And so we're pushing the envelope. And I hope that you see that, because this is not a part of our charter, what we were asked to do. We were asked only to look at the criteria and the procedures, because that's what the council wanted to do, is draw their own dang lines. And so that is a problem. It really is a problem. She understands that, I think. But for some reason, an independent council, independent commission has not resonated with the council, as a viable organism. And why? Can you hold on just a second?
Sure, take your time. Nope, thank you. Thank you.
Come from 81789.
Is it cold out? No, come on, Ed. I need to finish this up. Okay, Mr. Willoughby?
Yes.
Okay.
I know you probably need to go. You got company there and that. So the bottom line is, just to get you off the phone, let you be free here, is that one is, I want to say, that because you're on the task force, does that eliminate your duties as a citizen to still be involved with rights and wrongs? Because as a citizen, I think what I say is right. But the second thing is, I want to make clear. So the task force will not ask City Council to answer our questions, and the task force will not ask that. Is that correct?
No, Mr. Willoughby.
Okay. Go ahead.
The task force will have to be polled. I can't make a unilateral decision because I chair it.
Then will you put it forward to the task force?
I don't do things like that.
No, I just want to be clear when I leave. That's all. Okay. So will you put it to the task force?
Let me think about it.
Sure. Okay.
Here's what I don't want to do. I don't want to divert. You're asking us to take on something that we're not asked to do. And having said that, I understand what you're doing, and you should try to take advantage of every means you can to push forth the perspective that you want.
Don't you understand? It's a waste of money.
Well,
don't you understand that? You do understand that, don't you? You get it $250,000 a year for what? Okay, that's important. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's important. I understand that.
Okay.
But we have a growing city. Our city is growing exponentially.
Okay. Let me answer that real quick. Let me give you the mayor's point. The mayor does that. She uses that and says, because we got all these people, we need that. If that was the case, we would add council members by X amount of people like we do police and fire. That's not the case. We add council members by voting. And the way we get council members in by voting is by letting the people know to vote. And the people were not known to vote, and that is wrong, okay? They have to be known. Put it back on the ballot, let the people know, okay? And then we're on the right track. And that's just common sense. That's just honesty, okay, I believe. But anyway, like I said, too, if you'll put it forth to the task force, see what they're feeling. I don't know if you need me to give them to you, but there's only 2 questions I got. Why won't council answer our questions? And why will council not put it back on the ballot? Why will they not put it back on there and ask? And let them give the answer. Whether it's a mute what, I want their answer. Okay?
Well, and then that means that you have to go to them. Because why?
I have gone to them. They don't answer is what I'm trying to tell you. I'll be on every Tuesday night.
No. Well, yeah, I don't go to the council meetings very often.
Well, I've gotten to know them well.
Yeah, I would imagine. And they are,
my hair was brown before I started, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, no, but I'm sorry. I appreciate your time, your effort. And I'm going to let you get to your people there. But if you can let me know after Thanksgiving, have a good Thanksgiving. Let me know afterwards if you can how the task force feels about the 2 questions, okay? And thank you so much for returning my call.
Okay.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.